We throw the word culture around all the time, but have you ever really stopped to think about what it actually means? Well, in this explainer, we're going to break down what might be one of the most important concepts in all of our lives. So let me ask you something. Think about the food you love to eat, the language that just rolls off your tongue, or even something as simple as how you greet a friend. What do all those things have in common? And the answer? Well, it's simple, but it's also huge. They are all part of your culture. It's this invisible force that's shaping how we think, what we do, and who we are every single day. All right, let's dive into our first section. What is culture really? We're going to move past just thinking about museums and music. We're going to start seeing culture for what it truly is, the basic operating system for our entire lives. So let's start with the word itself, culture. Where does that even come from? Well, it comes from the Latin word cultus, which means to cultivate. Think about that for a second. Right from this very roots, the word implies something active, not something you just have, but something you actively grow and refine. And what's fascinating is this isn't just a Western idea. Not at all. In Sanskrit, you have the term sanskriti, from the root kri, which means to do. It's this idea of taking something raw and refining it into something more. It's the same powerful concept. Culture is something we make. Okay, so culture basically shows up in two big ways. First, you've got material culture. That's all the physical stuff we create and use, right? Our clothes, our food, our homes. Then there's non-material culture. This is the invisible world of our ideas, our beliefs, and our values. But here's the key. They're not separate. They're constantly influencing each other. Now, this is where things can get a little tricky, right? We hear these words all the time. Culture, civilization, heritage. And if we're being honest, we tend to mix them up. But they mean very different things. So let's untangle this. What's the difference between who we are, what we use, and what we've been given from the past? This chart right here, it really breaks it down perfectly. Culture, that's about who we are on the inside. It's our inner world, our values, our art. Civilization, on the other hand, is about what we use on the outside. It's our tools, our technology, our political systems. And the source makes a fantastic point here. You can be totally civilized without being very cultured, and of course, vice versa. So where does heritage fit into all this? Well, think of cultural heritage as the specific stuff we inherit from the people who came before us. It's this amazing collection of treasures, both physical things and big ideas, that are so important that we make a conscious effort to protect them and pass them on. It's our legacy. And this incredible legacy we get comes in two forms, basically. You've got the tangible stuff, the monuments we can actually see and touch, like the Taj Mahal or the pyramids. And then you have the intangible, these profound ideas that have shaped humanity, like the philosophy of yoga or huge scientific breakthroughs. Both are absolutely priceless. And if you remember one thing from this section, make it this. This is the absolute key distinction. Culture is alive. It's always, always changing. Heritage, because it's an inheritance from the past, is fixed. It doesn't change. Okay, so if culture is this living, breathing thing, how does it actually work? Let's get into the unwritten rules. Think of this as the DNA of culture, the code that explains how it operates, no matter where you are in the world. It helps to think of it like a life cycle. First, you're not born with it, so it has to be learned. And it can't exist by itself in a vacuum. It has to be shared among a group of people. It also doesn't just stay the same. It's cumulative, meaning it builds on itself generation after generation. And because of all that, it's always, always dynamic, constantly evolving. So, because of this whole cycle, culture becomes our guide. It's this incredibly complex system that gives us a roadmap for living. It lays out the unwritten rules for what's okay and what's not, and it sets up the ideals that we all kind of strive for to fit in. Okay, so we've covered what culture is and how it works. But let's get to the big one. Why does any of this even matter? This brings us to the most important question of all. Culture isn't just some nice-to-have accessory. It is the very essence of what makes us human. And here it is. This is the absolute heart of it all. Culture isn't just an optional extra. It is the very thing that gives our lives meaning. It's where our traditions come from, it's the foundation of our communities, and it's the entire framework we use to understand the world. I absolutely love this quote because it captures this beautiful circular idea. Human beings are creators of culture, and at the same time, culture is what makes us human. It's this amazing loop. We build it, and in return, it builds us.
Ultimately, when you boil it all down, culture is how we as a species chase after our highest ideals. It's our collective search for truth through things like philosophy and science. It's how we create and appreciate beauty through art and music. And it's our framework for striving toward goodness through ethics, love, and compassion.
So I want to leave you with a final thought. A question, really. Since we know culture is always changing, always being learned and shared and built upon, what part of your culture will you choose to pass on? What's your contribution going to be to this incredible, ongoing human story?